Volume 5, Chapter 1 Journey, Part 1 Sato is here. Typically in a game, it's walking in the beginning, carriage in the middle, and teleportation or airship in the endgame, getting convenient as it goes. A friend said that going on an adventure in a carriage is miserable. Since this isn't an adventure, I guess it's okay to enjoy myself, right? The wagon makes clattering and rumbling noises as it travels through the highway between hills. Ooh, yeah. Whenever small animals like rabbits and rats show up near the bushes, Pochi and Tama react as if they're going to jump out of the wagon. Every time it happened, Lisa seized the two by their waists. Although the wagon is only about 20 kilometers per hour fast, so they won't get hurt even if they jump out. Pochi, Tama, you'll fall if you lean over too much. Sit on the back of the coach's stand. Yes, Nano desu. Ai. The two reply with good answers and place themselves on the left and right side of the coachman's stand, though it's probably only until they find something else. The winds are slightly cold, but since it's cloudless, the warmth from the sunlight is pleasant. After we got out of Seiryu City for a while, we came into a forest. Or rather, a gathering of branching thickets. We came out of it after 1 hour, and now we're advancing through what you call hilly areas. I could see shepherds herding their sheep on the side of the hill sometimes. I've only seen goat-made products in the city, but there are shepherds too, huh? Gakong, gakokokong. The wagon shakes as the wheels are climbing up. From behind, I'm hearing Lulu's small shriek and Arisa's abusive languages, but I'll pretend that I didn't hear it and let it carried away by the wind. Since the highway is made to avoid the hills, it's winding. The ground is not paved with stone pavements. The soil are bare. As a result, the wheel stumbles into rough spots sometimes. Although the horses are just moving along the course of the road by themselves, it's the coachman's job to fine-tune the wagon. Even though I'm supported by skill, due to the lack of my actual experience, I couldn't avoid them all. Arisa climbs above Pochi's head and shows her face from behind me. I'd love for you to drive more carefully. Don't be unreasonable to a novice coachman. I put aside Arisa's protest irresponsibly. Pochi looks troubled with Arisa who nests on top of her head. Oh, Pochi is counterattacking. She catches Arisa's hand and playfully bites it. Wait, Pochi! Stop that! The sleeves will get sticky with jewels. Hamumu, nyaro desu. Arisa, who pulls her arm back, and Pochi, who hounds her, rushes towards the luggage rack near the coachman's stand. Don't get rowdy now. I warned them lightly. The wagon is shaking. It'd be bad if they all fall. Tama, who sees Arisa and Pochi playing around, looks raring to go. Tama also participates in the war. Since Tama isn't suited for patience or perseverance, I guess this can't be helped. The trip is more relaxed than I thought it'd be. Since this is a fantasy world, I thought that we would encounter some monsters or something, but there weren't anything even up until now. I tried searching in wide area, but there were no dangerous animals or monsters. At most, it was just foxes. I spot packs of wolves sometimes, but they're 10 kilometers away at the edge of the forest earlier, so there's no need to be vigilant for the time being. When I went on a date with Zina-san back then, she said the military is doing practice by regularly eliminating dangerous animals and monsters around the perimeter of Seiryu City. This is probably thanks to that. Lisa, who seemingly couldn't let the little girls who were still playing around any longer, warns them. I had thought that they should be stopped soon, so it's helpful. Replacing Lisa, Lulu, who took refuge on the back of the wagon, sitting behind me. Come to think of it, I haven't talked much with Lulu. Communication is important. Let's talk with her properly from now on. Lulu, are you fine? You don't have motion sickness or the likes, right? Yes. I thought that she wouldn't reply, but quite a surprised voice came out. Right. She moved behind me silently, so she will be surprised if I call her out without turning my head. The Beastkin girls have high physical abilities, and I thought that it's just natural. But for Lulu, who's just a normal girl, it will be surprising. I almost replaced my common sense with unreasonableness. I should be careful. You don't have to be so nervous. Just like Arisa, or rather not. Be more like Pochi and the girls who casually interact with me. Such things, since I'm a slave, it's unbecoming. Lulu lets out a faint voice that sounds as if she's about to disappear. It seems like this will need some time. For the time being, I should get her to get accustomed with having conversations with me. Lulu, do you have anything you like? I like taking care of Arisa. Is she a siscon? No, it's probably just a normal sisterly love. I'm reluctant, but I continue to talk about Arisa as the topic, to clear away her reserved attitude. It's important to continue the conversations no matter the topic. You really love your younger sister. I sometimes question who's the older one. Certainly, she really doesn't act like an 11-year-old. Arisa is a genius since she was a child. How was she? Rather than a genius, it was because she had the experience from her previous life. But I'd better not talk about it, huh? After that, Lulu continues to brag about Arisa happily until noon. Humans are good at speaking about the thing they love. This is no different even in another world. Lulu, who talks about Arisa, looks very happy. Her eyes are sparkling. Her cheeks faintly blush too. Her face, which is normally that of a beautiful girl, gets even more beautiful. I'm scared that I will fall into a dangerous world if I'm careless. I could hear Arisa, who seems to be in agony for being praised very highly behind, but maybe because she understands my intentions, it doesn't seem like she would interrupt Lulu's story. When the wagon goes on a straight line for a while, I look at the luggage rack. Arisa is writhing on the floor while Pochi and Tama are mimicking her by lying down on the sides. Noticing my gaze, the two look towards here while still mimicking their position. I gestured that is nothing, and then they resume to imitate Arisa happily. Yup, peaceful is nice. Then, Lulu continues to talk about Arisa for nearly 1 hour after that. Let's change the story since Lulu's voice started to become hoarse. Of course, I'm ready to hear Lulu talk about Arisa at any time. Let's make Arisa participate if I need to punish her. Just as I try to get the timing, I hear a cute growl from the side. Confirming on the menu, it's about time for lunch. We could eat in the wagon as it continues, but I want to check on the condition of the horse fixtures, so I decided to take a break for the lunch. It's not like we're in a rush, and we won't reach town for 2 or 3 days anyway. According to the map, there's a boulder formation just up ahead, so I picked that place for the break. Let's have lunch soon. Mio? Meat nano desu. Pochi and Tama answer faster than Lulu, who has become red on my side. Jumping from the back of the wagon, a girl shows her face. Shall I cut some cheeses and breads if we're going to eat in the wagon? Lisa, weren't you just keeping watch on the back of the wagon? Arisa, who has revived, follow after Lisa. Her voice has become hoarse while her hair is in disorder. She's a bit scary. We have a nice weather today. Let's eat like we're having a picnic. That's right. Looks like that there is a boulder formation up ahead. Let's take a break for 1 hour there. After we advance through the road for a while, in the middle of the way we get out of the highway and climb a hill. The carriage shakes and loses its speed because the ground is underdeveloped grasslands. I advance the wagon carefully. Soon, we can see the boulders. Each and every one of them is quite big. The boulders are about 2 meters high and nearly 7 meters wide. I stop the wagon near on the side of a boulder. I descend from the coachman's stand and help Lulu to get off of it. Arisa jumps towards me while saying, "To!" like some kind of hero. I avoid her. Wait, aren't your treatments towards me getting worse? That's not true at all. You're cute, Arisa. I answer half-heartedly and lower the fixture of the wagon. You didn't put your heart into it. You'll stray off the path of delinquent soon. Your vocabularies reek of the Showa era like usual. Pochi and Tama also imitate Arisa. To? To nano desu. They're jumping while saying that. It's good that they didn't imitate the pose. I release the yokes on the horses and tie the reins on the wagon. I check on the fixture of the wagon, and it seems that the horse bodies don't have scratches, so it's fine. Lisa comes down with a barrel filled with water. I give it to the horses. I'll give them the priority because they're the ones who worked the hardest today. Lisa, prepare something that's easy to make, like sandwiches or salad. I ask Lisa for the meal. Since it's bad to only have Lisa to do it, I try to see whether Lulu or Arisa can cook. Unfortunately, Arisa's female power level isn't high enough for cooking. Arisa said so in monotone while looking towards the day after tomorrow. Is she feeling guilty? I wouldn't say such old-fashioned things like a woman have to be able to cook, okay? I have no experience in cooking, but I could do things like peeling fruits or making tea. Then Lulu will act as Lisa's assistant. Help her cook by following her instructions. Yes, I will do my best. I ask Lulu to help Lisa. I wonder if she's happy for being helpful. I feel like she could get her voice out more around me like she has accustomed to me. I wonder if it's too early to think that. Should I ask Pochi and Tama to collect firewood? When I look at the two, they're excluding atmosphere like they're about to run towards the meadow. Their faces turn towards me, but their ears twitch every time the bushes make sounds. Let's occasionally let them play appropriate for their age. Private Pochi, Private Tama. Ai, yes, nano desu. Good answers. I will assign you two a mission. Check the security around the perimeter of the boulders. Ai, desu. The two begin to run like arrows. Let's remind them. I'll call you two back when the meal is ready, so don't go too far, so they won't overdo it. I guess I'll make Arisa to collect fuel. Arisa, gather things like dead leaves and firewood near the bushes around here. Kay. I direct Arisa as I give salts to the horses. Arisa, who doesn't have any particular complaint, goes to gather the firewood while singing some minor anime-like songs.